Sick Recovery is a long-term recovery program, minimum of 6 months stay. Guys come here to get completely clean. You're completely starting over to build a new life, because that's really the only way you're going to stay clean. For me, it's my mission in life to help people in not only in adrenaline-based sports, but anywhere that have struggled in life. You know, probably a bigger reason than anything is I don't want anybody to go down the same road I did with how I hurt my family, how I hurt my kids, and what I put them through. You know, that's probably my biggest driver is and pushes me more than anything is to help them not make the same mistakes I did. That's for sure. Parents got divorced really early. I was 4 or 5 years old, and it was never pretty. They were pretty ugly with each other, and in front of me and my brother. My brother was 7 years older than me, so he was more the father figure than my dad, because my dad was never around. My dad had his struggles with addiction. My brother left for the military, and I had just gone through some things, you know. I had some physical abuse as an infant, and then I had some sexual abuse as a 9, 10-year-old. And right after that happened, and it was neighborhood kids much older neighborhood kids that did it. And right after it happened, my brother left. And I didn't have a trust with my parents because of the way they acted to each other. You know, I had no trust in anybody because I felt like there was just constant betrayal in my life. And that's what really, when I get emotional, I was tired of everybody leaving, you know? And it's funny, as a kid, my mom would always yell, "Will you stop running? Like, why do you have to run everywhere?" I'm just a runner. I ran from life. I was a 23-year-old guy that's drinking and drugging all the time and partying, and all of a sudden I'm gonna have a baby. Well, I ran to drugs. You know, I didn't know how to deal with whatever I didn't know how to deal with. I ran to something. I ran to drugs and alcohol after 23 for everything. When business got tough at 30, I ran to the bottle. Every bit of money that I had, I was using drugs and alcohol. And life just, you know, went horribly, horribly south. Like I destroyed everyone in my path. You know, I had nowhere to go. I was living in my truck. Lost everything. All the business stuff was repossessed. Vans were repossessed, you know. I had just reached the point where I either wanted to die or change, you know. I had to, I didn't know how to stop hurting people. I didn't know how to be honest with people. I didn't know how to cover up all my shame and guilt, to just tell the truth. You know, I was so fearful of you leaving me that I'm gonna get you first. I would put myself around people that wouldn't tell me the truth. I intimidated them enough. They said what I wanted to hear, and it worked. Well, I found a guy that told me what I needed to hear and not what I wanted to hear, and my life started to change. I went back to ride motorcycles, and I started racing motocross, and I got totally addicted, totally into it, you know, the adrenaline rush of it. It was awesome, and then that's how I started helping guys in motocross. You know, we started this team called Head Case MX, and I'm helping other guys, but yet I'm not able to conquer my own anger issues, and it bothered me. You know, I was looking for something else. I then meet my wife. You know, I'm doing all these things right. I'm in therapy. I'm dealing with life. I'm dealing with the past issues. I think I got that under control. I'm helping other guys. I'm racing. I'm doing a lot of things right. Why am I still so angry? I just got into a fist fight at Turkey Hill by our house, and my wife was with me, and you know, something snapped in me. I got in the car and I broke down crying, and I just said to her, I said, something's got to give. We buy this house and we start fixing it up, and one of my designers is a Christian. He's often talking to me about his church and, you know, the music they play, and I'm like, what are you talking about, music? He's like, well, they play really cool music when you start. I'm like what? And he would tell me songs, and I'd listen to a song. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I go to LCBC and I open the door, and I'm literally scared to walk in there. And I see my aunt. I loved her very much. You know, I said I haven't seen her in 15, 20 years. So I walk over to her, and I just stand in front of her, and I said, it's good to see you, Aunt Joe. It's Kevin. And she just started crying. And we talked a little bit, and I went into church, and I loved the music. But I was very uncomfortable with the Jesus part. To believe in something like Jesus Christ, that was like another level of trust. You know, it's easy to say God, but it wasn't easy for me to say Jesus, because then it was real. And I found this series called The Bible. I started watching this series educating myself. One night, I think I watched it for 6 hours straight. I got to the crucifixion where he was crucified and beaten horribly, and they showed that beating, and I found forgiveness for what I did. And it was like, I'm gonna open my heart. And I said, I finally feel like I truly am forgiven. I'm forgiven for the things I've done to my kids, to my family, to people that didn't deserve anything that I did. I felt all that pain for a purpose. It was amazing, the timing that God just finally said, enough of you doing it your way. You know, feel this. I want to be the best person I can be for these people, especially for these guys. But for my kids, I want to be outstanding, because I don't have the relationship that I'd like with my children, especially with my oldest. But I know that if I keep following him, he'll guide me back. I really just want a chance. I want a chance for people, for my kids, and for people that knew me to get to know the new me, you know, the one that's reborn in him.